Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into the Rise to Grind Morning Show. It's Wednesday, man, middle of the week. Projections, not so much today. We're going to be doing, kind of projections. 2026 cap casualties. Detroit Lions going to be making some moves away from some players here in this offseason. We're going to talk about it. We're going to manage the cap today. It'll be closer to the second half of the program this morning. First half, Eric has prepared some things for us today we're going to talk about. Big shout out to Ahmed Hassanin's father, Hassanin Mahdi, Mr. Mahdi, for the super chat this morning. Looks like Egyptian, was it rubles? $59.99, man. Huge shout out to you, buddy. All the glory to your son, man. All the glory to your son. I hope he turns it up this year and does great, man. I've got big hope for him. I really do. I really do. I think that his energies and his smile, everything about him is infectious, and that's exactly what the Lions need in the locker room here in 2026. So congrats to you and congrats to him. Can't wait to see what that turns into. But without further ado, man, let's just rock and roll it this morning. It's Rocked On Detroit Lions here on the Rise to Grind Morning Show. Let's just do it. Be back here in 17 seconds.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
Eric, what's happening, man?
Dealing with frozen snow. It rained last night after it snowed 6 inches, and then it decided to do 40-mile-an-hour winds and get down to about 10 degrees.
Yes, it's supposed to get nasty here today, too.
It's a frozen wasteland here in the Upper Peninsula. Glad my plow guy came.
Yeah, it's supposed to go from, I mean, it's been like 40-something overnight, just raining, and now it's supposed to turn into huge lake effect snow, possible 1 to 12 inches where I'm at. Like, what? 1 to 12? We can't narrow this down a little bit more, so it's going to be nasty. Hopefully everybody stay safe out there on the roads because it's going to turn in a heartbeat. It's kind of weird that it stayed warm throughout the night, and now it's going to get cold during the day. What a weird winter. But you know what? I've been saying this for years, man. I remember as a kid, you used to go out and play in the snowbanks, you know, those things that you're not supposed to do, right? Because they could collapse on you and crush you and you could suffocate. Whatever. That was the 80s, man. That's just what we did, 90s. And so I used to make igloos out of the snowbanks. You know, the city plows would plow you in. I'd have to unplow us because I was a kid with a shovel. Thanks, Dad. That's where I first blew out my back. Anyway, I don't see that much anymore. Like, we just don't have the massive amount of snow that we used to. Like 150 inches a year seemed like nothing. And now if we barely get 60, 70, I'd be surprised. It's kind of weird the way that the weather is swung, whether you want to call it, you know, the earth warming or whether you want to say it's climactic shifting. I just think the weather's shifting a little bit. I think that we're rotating on the axis a little bit more to that degree, and we're now getting warmer weather. So, maybe Florida will be Michigan in another 50 years. Who knows? What's the weather like in Allen Park?
Probably cold.
Cut season, that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's cut season in Allen Park. So we're going to be talking about 2026 cap casualties today. Going to go through the roster. We're going to utilize SpoTrack this morning. I better make sure I'm signed in. And going to manage, some possibilities. I think that it could happen. And, when we look at what's happening right now with the Lions' projected cap, it's not great. But I think that we'll be able to get somewhere with it today that maybe will help us feel a little bit better. Right now, the Lions' top 51 cap space has made a dramatic move. Just last week, we were about negative $5 million. We're plus 3.8 right now. I don't know what happened.
Well, now it's only showing 48 players instead of 51 also.
Well, we didn't have 51 before. We had 36, I believe, or 38. So now that we've signed futures deals, those are now part of the cap evaluation. So our top 51 has 48, as you mentioned. We still have a long way to go to get to that 90, and there's going to be some big numbers, added to this roster, and there might be some big negotiations added to this roster this year, by ways of maybe Jared Goff does a restructure. But before I get into all that, because I don't want to get into all that right now, Mike Kafka, I believe he's interviewing today.
Today, yes.
That's an interesting one. So I want to talk about Mike Kafka to start the day. I dropped this article this morning. I had a rough day at PT yesterday, man. So when I got back, I was like 3 sheets to the wind the other way. I had it. Like I was not feeling it. But let me share this article with you all. So if you haven't signed up for the Detroit Football Journal, now's your chance to get a free 6 months membership. All you have to do is put your email in. This link will take you there. So Mike Kafka, is he the most intriguing offensive coordinator option left on the board when you really think of guys that have the potential to just be OCs versus head coaches? What do you think?
Repeat that one more time.
Do you think that Mike Kafka is the most intriguing option left on the board for the opportunity for guys that have the opportunity to be head coaches versus just an OC? I don't think Mike Kafka is going to get a head coach job.
I don't either. Now, Mike McDaniel's toss up whether he gets a head coaching job or not. I know he's interviewing for 4, possibly 5 of the head coaching jobs, and this is the only OC job that he has interviewed for. This is weird because I was just looking up. Let's see. So I put a little thing together today. Over 40% of the NFL is searching for new offensive coordinators right now. So that means these guys are going to be in high demand, especially people like Kafka that really aren't leaning towards being a head coach again, but are more leaning towards being an offensive coordinator again. When you're going to have 13 or 14 jobs that you can interview for, and the pool of guys that are going to that have experience are very small, it's going to make it very interesting to see where these people go, because is Detroit the best OC job in the NFL this offseason with 13 or 14 of these positions open?
Yeah, I would say it is. And here's the wild thing, Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Could the Lions have fallen into the best possible opportunity here in 2026 simply because you have all of these firings, you have all of these people that are available, all these former coaches that are available right now, and the Lions just happen to be looking for an offensive coordinator? When you have 40% of offensive coordinators that have been released in the league, you're talking 13, 14, coaches, plus former head coaches, 9 of them that have been released. They're in the best situation possible, quite honestly, because the amount of coaches that are available for them to interview is much greater than it was last year.
Yeah.
It's insane how many, we've now matched the record for 9 head coaches.
Yeah, it is the record. Not having 9 head coaching positions open is the record now.
Is that 17? I'm sorry. Is that with 32 teams? Is that yes. Since all the post-merger and all that stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with 32 teams. Yeah. I was looking at that last night.
Okay. We'll get into Dan Orlovsky. Kind of funny, huh? I mentioned that name the other day. Y'all thought I was nuts. God. And now Pat McAfee talks about it, and it's brilliant. Come on, man. You got to give me a little respect here. At least I know what the hell I'm talking about. The fact that I mentioned Dan Orlovsky was crazy enough because I don't like the guy. He knows that. We've had brief communication on Twitter, so he knows that I call him the out of bounds Orlovsky. Yeah, to your point, Eric, here, let's just get right into it, man. To your point about Darren Orlovsky, we'll come back to Kafka in a minute because we just got to put this one to bed real quick.
We were talking about this. We were talking about this before the show started. How I used to love Dan Orlovsky, and now I can't stand the guy. He has thrown Jared Goff under the bus 8 million times. Could you imagine having someone that criticized our quarterback so bad when our quarterback was doing good things and putting all the blame on losses on Jared Goff? Could you imagine having him as your offensive coordinator? I don't see it. I could never see it in a million years. Having someone that publicly criticized you be your offensive coordinator, that would never work.
No, it wouldn't work, man. Could you imagine the first conversation? Because these guys save the receipts, man.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it would never work. As uniquely qualified as Orlovsky is, unfortunately, he has been in the media circus for a bit too long, and I think that it is jaded. I guess maybe jaded is the wrong word. He's just no longer qualified. I don't believe.
Yeah, is he mad that the Lions never asked him to come back and help out or do anything?
I don't know. I mean, look, honestly, if he would have gotten into the coaching realm early, I think that there could have been some great opportunities for him.
Possibly. He's a very smart guy, but you realize he's the reason we went 0-16.
True. But
I put a lot on his games that he played that season. I put a lot on him.
I guess I would have to say that I would never evaluate someone as a coach based on their playing experience.
No. You can't do that.
I think you have to separate it a little bit because just because you were a backup or maybe you weren't as great of a football player as the next guy, it doesn't mean that you don't know the game. It doesn't mean that you can't, you're not cerebral enough. It just means your body wasn't good enough. Your ability wasn't good enough. Maybe you didn't have the right, speed or explosion or whatever position you're playing. You just weren't good enough. It doesn't mean mentally you weren't there. Physically, you just weren't there. And I think that's the case for Dan Orlovsky. I mean, the dude physically was a wet noodle. And mentally, he was sharp as a tack. So it just didn't work out for him. Now, on the play where he went out of bounds, clearly he had a brain fart that day. That didn't work out so hot for him. Oops, I didn't mean to change that. Let's hear what Pat McAfee said.
Yeah. I got a name that no one's talking about that would fit really well in Detroit if you guys want to hear that one.
I already know.
I think Dan Orlovsky, with his history with the Lions, former teammate of MCDC's, the guy knows everything about the Ben Johnson offense.
Good call.
He loves Jared Goff, accurate quarterbacks, all those weapons, St. Brown, J-Mo, Gibbs, Monty, Laporta when he comes back. Can you imagine Dan Orlovsky on a pen and paper or in the VR writing up plays for the Detroit Lions next year and sending us to the Super Bowl?
Dan Orlovsky maybe to the Lions? That would be awesome. That would be the best case scenario for our show, for sure. Now, MCDC, now we probably wouldn't be able to talk to Orlovsky after he gets up there, but would MCDC let Dano be Dano? Like, is he going to let Dano say fudging and do all of the tricks that he wants to be able to do? I think he would. Man, Dan Orlovsky back with the Lions to right the wrong of the 0-16 season, to right the wrong of the 11-yard end zone, to right the wrong of his story in Detroit and make it a better one alongside a former teammate of his to bring a title to Detroit. Yeah. Oh, AJ. Oh, it writes itself. Get Dano up there, Foxy. That's brilliant.
We've been talking about it for how many off seasons now? Where Dano has he officially interviewed for any of these jobs? Like, I feel like he used to a couple of times. He actually interviewed for.
He's interviewing every day, brother. And the other thing too with the Lions is, they were boo-hooing because Skip was retiring. Guess who's not retiring anymore? If Daniel's coming in, Skip.
Good point.
Decker.
True.
I mean,
Well, what about Dano for head coaching opportunities? Why are we talking coordinator? Why don't you just go right to the top?
Well, if NCDC brought him in, he'd probably be nervous that he'd be.
Great point.
Nah.
Great point.
Nah. Hold on, man. Hold the phone. I'm sorry. Dan Campbell is never going to be nervous about bringing anybody in. You brought in Anthony Lynn. You brought in Terrell Williams. You brought in Kelvin Shepard. You brought in Ben Johnson. You brought up all these other guys. You have all these coaches on your staff that are former players. Dan is not worried about anybody. You had Aaron Glenn there. Again, two guys that have now become head coaches in the league. If Dan was worried about competition, well, then that would send the wrong message to his players, where he's saying we're going to breed competition here. We're going to bring competition in. To beat the best, to be the best, you got to beat the best. That's the same for Dan Campbell. He needs guys in that room that can push him. He needs guys in that room that can keep him on his toes. You don't want Dan Campbell to get lazy. You don't want Dan Campbell to be lackadaisical. You don't want Dan Campbell to go through the motions. He needs to wake up every day with piss in his Cheerios thinking that someone's coming for my job today. I have to go win. I have to figure out how to keep these guys energized and get this team motivated. Otherwise, I'm going to be without a damn job. So absolutely not. Dan Campbell is not worried about someone taking his job. Outside of that, no way, Orlovsky. No way. The 11-yard end zone was that was a great comment. Great comment. Love it. Where the hell is Pat McAfee? What is he in? Is he in a fifth wheel?
I have no clue.
I couldn't tell either. I couldn't tell where he was. But man, shout out to all them. I didn't realize that they all got the same mic that I have now. I don't know if that's new. I've never noticed them before. But that's the same damn mic that I'm using now. I wonder why they got such good voices over there. Anyway. Troll job? Cruising? Is this a troll job? Eric, is this a troll job? Are they just trolling Dan Orlovsky because everyone knows no way in hell this is going to happen?
Yeah. Yeah. Ain't no way.
I got a name that no one's.
Yeah. No way, no how.
No way, no how, no nothing.
Talking about that would.
I need to get this thing muted. Hold on. Keeps trying to start on me. There you go.
Plus,
okay.
He's been out of it for so long.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that when you're in the media, though, and you're consistently evaluating, criticizing, and going over every single team in the league, I think you do gain a lot of knowledge. And I think you do gain a lot of unique perspective on clock management, scenarios, 4 down, or fourth 4-minute offense too. I mean, I think you gain a lot of insight by being able to see everything happen around the league. But being on the sideline is a tad bit different.
Robbie's funny this morning. Like and subscribe if you ain't a SOL fan.
There you go. I said something the other day about SOL fans, and I don't know if people agree with this, but when I think of SOL, the same old Lions, I think you have to go back to prior to 26, prior to the 0-16 season, 2008, and even a little bit after that. But William Clay Ford, I firmly believe that he was the reason why SOL was invented. Consistently hanging on to players that had no business being there, hanging on to coaches that probably had no business being there. And then getting the same result year in and year out, same old, right? The same old Lions. It's just the same old result. That's gone. Like, William Clay Ford is no longer here. He's 2, owners removed from Sheila Hamp. That's done. And so we've got to come up with a new name. We have to come up with a new name for these fans that are quasi-SOL, meaning that they're always just freaking negative. I think we just need a new name for them because, in my opinion, SOL is what used to be the William Clay Ford Lions. This is a brand new Lions under Sheila Hamp, totally different perspective on how they run, this team, and it's from the top down. But we still have this negative fan base that is from the SOL era. I just don't know how, because we can't just call everybody SOL anymore.
No.
You know what I mean?
But a lot of the old school guys like me, even the ones that are SOL, they realize this is unlike anything we've ever had. They're a little more grateful than these newer fans that just jumped on in 21 or 22 and they've went full SOL. You know, these new guys, they don't know what bad times are. I was just looking at my memories. Okay. So
how do you look at your memories?
On my phone.
Oh.
And January 14th, 2 years ago, the Detroit Lions defeated the LA Rams for their first playoff win in 32 years. And that was unlike any football game I've ever been to in my entire life. The energy, the game, everything was unlike anything I've ever been to. And even my friend that is an SOL fan that went to that game, even he now admits this is different. We've never had 4 winning seasons in a row. That you know, even though sometimes he falls off the cliff and goes full SOL, he even has to admit, dude, I'm just being picky because this is really good. I mean, 9-8, a winning season. What would you have given when we went 0-16 and then I think the next year we won 3 or 4 games? What would you have given during that time period just to be 9-8? I mean, to be 8-8?
Look, I think it would have been a moral victory, right?
Yeah.
It's a moral victory to get on the positive side. And, you know, here's something else that I have to throw out there. This just in my head last night. How do we reevaluate coaches today? Because 17 games is awkward. I can't even remember the last time the NFL had an odd number of games. I think you'd probably have to go back at least 50 years for that. Maybe 40 at least. It's been a long time.
Regular season, we never had an odd number. It went from 12 to 14 to 16.
And then 17.
Yep.
Okay. So how do we evaluate, well, even players and coaches now, quarterbacks and specifically and coaches, because now it's either you're 500 or you're not. And so if you look at the long history of a coach's win rate, it's now really skewed over the last several seasons since 2021, because now it's 500 or you're not. So if you're 9-8, is that the new 500?
Basically.
Or is 8-9 the new 500?
Depends on which way you want to look at it.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of really screwed everything up. If you're a statistical analyst and you look at stats and it's just, if you're a 20-year-long coach, Mike Tomlin, for instance, which I'll talk about that in just a moment, but Mike Tomlin, forever was a 500+ coach, but now it's different because you have to be at least 9-8 to be on the positive side of 500. You can't be 8-8 anymore. 8 wins is not the same as what it was 6 seasons ago. 8 wins 6 seasons ago was a 500 season. 8 wins now is a losing season. So I don't know. What's the threshold for being a good coach today? Is it 9-8? Is it 10? Is it 10-7? Is it 11-6? Like where are we now?
It's +1.
Okay. +1. So 9-8 is the new 500 then.
Yep.
What do you guys think in the chat? Is 9-8 the new 500? I'd like to know. Let me know in the comments later, obviously in the chat right now. Mike Tomlin. Yesterday I put out a simple post. I was after PT, so I went to get some food. I was at parking lot, I think Chipotle or something. And I hear that Mike Tomlin is stepping down. And I'm like, he's not really stepping down per se. I feel like the Pittsburgh Steelers did it right. They let him retire from football or step away from football or step down from football as a coach for the Steelers, however you want to put it. And that's because they have respect for what that man did in Pittsburgh. He led that organization for 19 seasons, never had a losing record. Made the playoffs, I think, in every season. If not every, maybe all but one. I don't remember that stat now. So allowing him to just step down is the right way to do it when you have a coach that has been there for more than 10 seasons. Now, if you've been there 5, 6 seasons, yeah, get fired. If you've been there for 20 seasons, 10 plus seasons, allow the coach to step away. Now, I do understand the financial aspect of this. When you step down, you are giving up your contract. And there's a clause in your contract for that, how you're going to get paid, yada, yada, yada. When you get fired, they still have to pay you. So John Harbaugh deserved the same treatment. And he didn't get it. John Harbaugh should have been allowed to step away. Maybe John Harbaugh was, I want my money. So you're going to have to fire me. Don't know that conversation. Not going to act like I do. So I do want to give, again, my 2 claps today to the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, because that is a class act move by letting him go out on his own terms after leading that organization for 19 plus seasons and being has to be the winningest coach for the Steelers organization. Love it, man. I think that's the right way to approach it. So congratulations to the Steelers for actually recognizing that your coach is badass and did a great job. And maybe it's time for him to move on to something different. Maybe he goes to media. Maybe he takes a year off. Maybe he coaches another team. I don't see it. I see Tomlin just kind of riding off to the sunset, right? At least for the next year or two. What do you think?
Well, Mike Tomlin, he had 19 consecutive non-losing seasons, and he had a Super Bowl victory in 2010. And he won it in his second season and reached another in 2010. So he made it to one and won it, and made it to another and lost it. All right. He had 13 playoff appearances, 8 AFC North titles, and 193 regular season wins. Tied Chuck Noll for the most wins in Steelers franchise history. And yeah, the guy's a legend. I think he's going to go on to end up being a TV analyst. And I think he's had this TV gig lined up for a couple of years now. And I think he's just going to take the TV gig. Whole lot less work to do and probably more money.
Oh, media is a pretty tough job, man.
Yeah.
It's freaking grueling. It's never ending. I saw this stupid stat come out yesterday when Tomlin retires. Some idiot decided to throw this out there where they said Kyle Shanahan has surpassed Mike Tomlin in playoff wins. Shanahan has 9 to 8, and Shanahan's, been in the league as a head coach for 10 years less. Tomlin has coached a decade longer than Shanahan. Who gives a shit? Like, why are we putting that out there? Who cares? Who cares what Kyle Shanahan has done in contrast or comparison to Mike Tomlin? When Mike Tomlin is finally hanging it up. When Shanahan has 19 winning seasons, come knock on my door. We'll talk about it then. I thought it was just poor taste. Very poor taste. And then, take a look at the 49ers, man. In that division. The NFC West.
Yep.
How competitive has the NFC West been?
The last couple of years, pretty competitive.
I want to look at something real
quick. The 49ers ran it for a long time.
Well,
before 2021, when the Rams finally got good.
Let's take a look here.
They've had some really bad seasons too. They've had some 4th place finishes. I mean, they finished 6-11 just last year. They were 4th place in their division.
Hold on a second here. Let's see. This is not a good way to look at this. Let me look at it this way. All right, let's take a look at the NFC West for a moment. So the Seattle Seahawks, obviously they took it this year. The Rams took it last year. The 49ers took it the 2 previous years in 22 and 23. The Rams took it in 21. The Seahawks took it in 2020. The 49ers took it in 2019. Then the Rams in 18. Then the Rams in 17. Then the Hawks. Then the Cardinals. And the Seahawks for 2 more years. And then the 49ers for 2 more years. Then the Seahawks. Then the Cardinals for 2 more years. Then the Seahawks for 4 more years. And then the St. Louis Rams. And then the 49ers. And then the St. Louis Rams. And then the New Orleans Saints when they were in that division. So if you go back and look at how many times the San Francisco 49ers have won in the last 19 seasons, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. 6 times in 19 seasons. Let's take a look at the AFC North. AFC North division history. Let's take a peek. Must have been a tough division. All right, so the Steelers, I'm just going to skip right to it. The Steelers won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 times in the last 19 seasons. How many division championships did you have on your side? I see 11.
For Tomlin?
Yeah. Did you have a stat for that?
Hold on. He had it 8 times.
So was he not coaching in 2021? Probably not. When did he start there? He started there, what, 2005?
I got to pull this all back up. All right, so let's see. Man, now it's different. He had 19 consecutive 9 lines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I see 8. I see 8 for Tomlin.
Yeah, it was 8.
Okay, so I see 8 for Tomlin. If you go back to the NFC West, Shanahan has been there how long? Do we know that answer?
After Harbaugh.
(2017). Since 2017, the 49ers have won it 3 times. Since 2017, I guess it's a tie. Tomlin has won it 3 times. Not that any of this matters, right? But when you look at the history of Tomlin winning the division 8 times in 19 years, that's not easy to do. It's not. Especially, and you're going up against teams like the Bengals, that pretty damn good football team. For periods of times, the Ravens, who've been consistent contenders the last 7, 8, 9 seasons, as well as the Bengals. It's kind of gone back and forth in between all 3 teams. What were you going to say?
Tomlin's worst record in a season is 8-8.
Yeah.
Ever. The Steelers have, under Tomlin, have never been less than 8-8. They've never won less than 8 games. Kyle Shanahan just last year 6-10. So I don't even want to hear it.
Yeah. All right, be back in just a few moments. All right, Eric, take us around the league here in 60 seconds or however long it's going to take you.
That might take a little more than 60 seconds today. I'm not sure. But we're going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens. Owner Steve Biacchi delivered a blunt and widely criticized response during his January 13th, 2026 press conference when asked if he would have kept head coach John Harbaugh if rookie kicker Tyler Loop had made the game-winning field goal in the finale Week 18 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Biacchi reported without hesitation for a week. The Ravens lost 26-24 to Pittsburgh in a win-or-go-home finale, with Loop missing a potential game-tying or winning kick on the final play. Biacchi confirmed the move was already decided by Monday after the game. Even a victory would have bought Harbaugh only one more week. Very strange. And then the New York Giants are moving aggressively to land the top coaching candidate on the market. Reports this morning confirm that the former Ravens head coach, John Harbaugh, is flying to New Jersey today for a second in-person interview with the Giants ownership. Insiders suggest the Giants are willing to offer Harbaugh a level of roster control that the Atlanta Falcons, the other finalists, may be hesitant to match. If the negotiations go well, a deal could be announced as early as Thursday, bringing the Super Bowl winning coach to the NFC East to stabilize the reeling New York Giants. The Patriots, they lost Christian Gonzalez for the playoffs. The New England Patriots upset victory over the Chargers has come at a devastating cost. The team confirmed yesterday that all-pro cornerback Christian Gonzalez suffered a grade 2 hamstring strain during the win and has been ruled out for the remainder of the postseason. This is a massive blow to Gerard Mayo's defense as they prepare for a high-powered divisional round opponent. Stephen Gilmore told reporters the secondary is heartbroken for Gonzalez, but challenged the depth chart to step up, acknowledging they cannot replace his elite coverage ability one for one. And finally, Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison. He was charged with misdemeanor trespassing and arrested after being charged with trespassing at a casino in Florida. All right. So this marks his third encounter with law enforcement in less than 3 years. Monday's incident occurred at an address associated with the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. He was charged with a first-degree misdemeanor of trespass in an occupied structure or conveyance and released on a $500 bond, and he faces up to a $1,000 fine or 1 year in jail. So Jordan Addison getting in trouble for the third time in 3 years. And that's around the league in 60 seconds. What do you think about Jordan Addison getting arrested for the third time in 3 years?
It's trespassing.
Misdemeanor or not, it's him getting in trouble for the third time.
And I'm sure it will go away. It's just a misdemeanor.
Yeah.
I'm sure it will go away. It'll get pled down to creating a disturbance or something stupid. I saw some things flying online, trying to compare him to Jameson Williams, and there's a huge difference between a speeding ticket going 140 miles an hour, trespassing, which I don't understand. So allegedly, all this stuff went down. What I don't understand is this. Was he previously trespassed from the property? Because if he was previously trespassed from the property, then you can get arrested for trespassing, as I understand the law. But if he was not trespassed before being on the property, how can you arrest someone for trespassing? I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything come out that explains that he was previously trespassed from the Hard Rock and Casino in Tampa, Florida.
Yeah. So Monday's incident occurred at an address associated with the Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino. He was charged with first-degree misdemeanor of trespass in an occupied structure or conveyance and released on a $500 bond on Monday.
Again, it doesn't make any sense. For instance, let's say I don't like you, and you came to my house and you knocked on my door. I can't just have you arrested for trespassing. Right? I would have to have had you previously trespass from my property, or I would have to have a sign on, around my property line that says no trespassing. But even then, just because you put a sign up doesn't mean that you can immediately get arrested for trespassing. I don't get it. I don't understand why he was trespassed.
Well, the story. Okay, here we go. So police found him at the Hard Rock Casino and he refused to leave when asked, leading to a probable cause trespassing charge for being in an occupied structure or conveyance. So he was asked by security to leave the casino because he must have been creating some type of disturbance. And when the casino asks you to leave and you will not leave, that is when the police are called. When you are drunk or you're causing a problem. I worked at the casino for over 25 years, different casinos, and
so that changes it then. That
is what it was.
That's where it changes. So if you were asked to leave, and then you did not leave, well then yes, now you are considered trespassing.
Yeah. So to put a little context in this, in July of 2024, he got a DUI. He was found asleep at the wheel of his car blocking an LA freeway exit, leading to a wet, reckless plea and a 3-game NFL suspension. And then in July of 2023, it was for speeding. He cited driving 140 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour speed zone near St. Paul, Minnesota, eventually pleading to a speeding charge.
Yeah, so I think the whole thing here is, is he a problem? And then again, Lions fans started to jump on Addison like, oh, everyone's comparing or looking at Jamison Williams and what he did. I think that they're vastly different. Betting on things, that was a stupid rule. Like, I get it. It was way overblown to a certain degree, but if the rule states you're not supposed to bet on stuff when you're in a building, you're not supposed to bet on stuff. It was as clear as mud. And he got in trouble for it.
Well, they both came in the league basically at the same time in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And Vikings fans, his rookie year, he had a 911 yards and he had 10 touchdowns. So everybody was saying, oh, he's a later pick and he's better than JMO. Well, he's went 911, 875, and 610. He's gotten worse every year, where JMO's gotten better every year.
Well, come on, look at his quarterback this year. Look at the quarterback issues.
He had 610 yards and 610 yards and 3 touchdowns this year. 3. I mean, Tesla had more touchdowns than that.
Again, I think you have to look at the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I know.
He doesn't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Brosmer and McCarthy. And then even that, he had half of McCarthy.
Well, if you look at the year before, he had 875 and 9 touchdowns.
To Sam Darnold, who was playing out of his damn mind. Mm-hmm. You can't even compare that.
Yeah.
You can't compare that. Same thing about Justin Jefferson. Look what he did in 2024. He had over 1,500 yards. He had 10 touchdowns. What did he do this year? Barely over 1,000 and 2 touchdowns.
Yep.
So what was Addison's numbers
for this year?
Yeah.
Let's see. For 2025, he had 42 receptions, 610 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Okay, so he had more touchdowns than Justin Jefferson this year.
Yep.
And if you look at that number, previous year over year, Justin Jefferson's numbers depleted by a third in receiving yards, and 80% touchdowns, went down 80%. What was Addison's numbers the year before?
The year before, he was 875 and 9 touchdowns.
So he dropped by about 25% in yardage and about 70% in touchdowns.
Yep.
And again, that's a direct correlation to the quarterback, man.
Yeah.
You have shaky at best quarterback play all year. The Vikings they had a good defense this year. They had no offense. Zero offense. So I'm not rooting for the guy. I'm just saying I think it's a little overblown. And maybe he does have a drinking problem, like someone alleged in the chat. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
Maybe he's got too many hits to the head. I think we've seen this play out before. We've seen it play out with Lions players before. Who was the guy? Oh my God. Who was the receiver for the Lions that was like
Titus?
Yes, and he was like nude or naked, like breaking into homes or something like
Titus
that.
Young.
Oh my
Titus
God. So we've seen this stuff play out before where these guys are just maybe not all there because they've taken too many hits, and we don't know the extent. We can't blame it all on the hits, but I would say that's a large reason. I mean, your brain can only handle so much.
Charles Rogers, same thing.
No, he had other issues, but I knew Charles Rogers, man. We played ball together,
and he went off the deep end, and I got to meet Charles Rogers a couple times and talk to him, and every time I met him, he was higher than a kite, blown out of his mind.
Oh yeah, he loved to smoke the weed.
Oh yes,
but he had kidney. I think he died from kidney failure.
Yeah, he liked to play craps at the casino. I'll tell you that.
Up
he
north?
was never a problem. I never had to kick him out.
No, he was cool as a cucumber, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it. What else do you have on your list today that you want to get through before I start going through cap considerations?
Well, let's see here. I think we went through two of them, so I only got one thing left on my list today. Oh, Jalen Reeves-Maybin has been signed to the active roster for the Chicago Bears from their practice squad for the divisional round of the playoffs. The former Detroit Lions special teams star and current president of the NFL Players Association has turned a stint with the Chicago Bears practice squad to a contract with the active roster heading into their NFC divisional round matchup against the Los Angeles Rams. Now, Reeves-Maybin, 30, was elevated for the team's wild card game against the Green Bay Packers and played a season-high 28 snaps, including 8 on defense. He had a highlight tackle in the second quarter, breaking up a run play on 3rd and 1 for no gain. So it's nice to see a couple of former Lions getting to play in the playoffs. And we were just talking about Jalen Reeves-Maybin the other day, wondering if he was still the president of the NFL Players Association. And it seems like he is, and he's back to playing football. So good for him, even though it's with the Bears.
Hold on here. So the reason why Maybin was brought up obviously is because they lost Edwards. They lost
his
Edwards.
Ankle. He broke his fibula or something.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very similar injury to Cleo Dorsey.
Yeah,
very, very similar.
And did you see on that play when that happened? It snapped when the guy hit his leg, and then he tried to run on it still.
Yeah, dude. That was a bad.
No, just go down. Just go down.
He didn't. I don't think he knew. He felt the pain, but he didn't know that his ankle was just hanging there.
Oh God, that was horrific.
Could you imagine stepping on it like that? Oh, dude, I get the shivers just thinking about it.
No, crunch.
Full body sweat right now. Thanks, Eric. Golly. Oh, it's bad.
My wife did that. She fell off a ladder and she shattered her heel.
Sure, she did. Who was holding the ladder?
I wasn't home. And I was over on Drummond Island metal detecting, and it took me 2.5 hours to get to her at the hospital. And she had to crawl through the snow and ice to get to the house because her cell phone was in the house. Yeah, her cell phone was in the house. It wasn't out in the garage where she fell. And she shattered her heel into like 30 pieces, and she had to wear a fixator with 2 of the rings and 12 rods going through her leg. I can only imagine what that Edwards guy, he's going to have the same thing. That's all going to be have to put back in place and surgery and oh God, yuck to all of it. So I've been there with somebody that's went through something similar. Oh, no fun at all.
I can't imagine, dude. I thankfully haven't had an injury like that. But I mean, I've had major spine injuries, neck and back and other stuff, but I've never had like a compounded fracture. I've really never even broken a bone per se, but I don't know. The injuries I've had have been pretty severe outside of that. All right. You guys are going to love me. Coming up next, 2026 cap casualties with a twist. How can the Lions get to $130 million in cap space and do exactly what you want them to do? Heavy in free agency. We're going to talk about that next. Be right back.
Pressured by Hutchinson, he goes down again.
All right, the Detroit Lions are on the verge of going to a Super Bowl, or at least making a good run, and a lot of fans want the Lions to go heavy in free agency. A move that I am vividly against. I guess that's probably even the wrong adjective. I'm totally against going deep into free agency and spending a boatload of money and kicking the can down the road, because it usually never works. Matter of fact, we did this a few weeks ago where we went over the teams that went heavy into free agency. Did they win a Super Bowl? The answer is no. Only the 2021 LA Rams in recent history have done so. And that even is a stretch by what they were able to do in free agency, trade deadline, and so forth with Matthew Stafford. You could say that was probably the biggest reason why it happened. Von Miller. There was a couple of other players, but when you look at what they did at the trade deadline in free agency, they did a little, not a ton. And before that, it might have been the New York Giants, I think, was the other team. But the point I'm trying to make is, if you go back the last 10 or 15 years, there might be two teams that have gone heavy into free agency or heavy at the trade deadline and actually came out on the other side with a Super Bowl. That's why it doesn't make sense for me in the Detroit Lions, simply because they want to draft and develop and sign their own. And the minute you start going into free agency and spending a ton of money, you won't be able to do that. And you're going to lose players that you want to keep around. So today's conversation, how can the Lions effectively recover $130 million or more in cap space? Maybe releasing a couple of players, maybe trading a couple of players. It's all on deck next. Let's get into it. All right, Eric. This is probably the hardest conversation to have every year is, what are the Lions going to do in free agency?
Yep.
And right now, when you look at this sheet, the Lions effectively have $3.9 million in total cap space, the top 51 cap space. So we still have three names to add to that list, which that'll happen pretty quickly here. But definitely by the draft, they're going to add, a few more players. And there's going to be some players that are cap casualties. But when you start to add it all together, it starts to make sense. And if you look at what Brad Holmes has done, and you look at how this cap has been managed and why he hasn't done anything in free agency, I think now you're looking at it and saying, this could be the year that maybe it makes the most sense and has the biggest opportunity if the players want to play ball. So for this exercise, I am going to assume that there are extension and or restructuring clauses in all of these contracts. I'm going to assume that. And I say assume because sometimes there's not. Sometimes you can't restructure. And if you do, you either pay a big penalty and or it has to be restructured a very certain way that fits what the player wants done because of tax purposes and everything else. There's way more involved in this than just moving numbers from point A to point B. And I think a lot of fans don't understand that. And I'm not even going to try to give anyone a financial lesson today because I wouldn't be smart enough to do it anyway, because I don't know what their contracts say. Don't have a clue. So again, for today's exercise, we're going to assume that they can either extend or restructure all of these guys. So let's start with the first option here. The biggest number that you see here in 2026 is Jared Goff. $69.6 million cap hit here in 2026. I'm sorry, $63.8 million in 2026. His top 51 cap number is $69.6 million. He has 3 years, $142 million remaining in his contract to become a free agent here in 2029. So the Lions have 26, 27, and 28 with Jared Goff. They have 3 more seasons to get this done. So how do they restructure this and not lose the ability of the future? Well, you can't have both. The next biggest number, Amon-Ra St. Brown is set to make, he's set to make $33.1 million in 2026 as a top 51 cap hit. The dead cap hit is 51.6. Excuse me, on Jared Goff. The dead cap hit was 63.8. That's if they're released, which isn't going to happen. Ali McNeil is finally going to get paid this year. Cap hit $28.9 million in 2026. Penei Sewell, 28 even. Taylor Decker, 21.3. DJ Reed, 18 million this year. Aiden Hutchinson, 10.1. Derek Barnes, 9.2. Graham Glasgow, 8.4. David Montgomery, 8.3. Jamison Williams, 8.2. Kirby Joseph, 5.8. Jahmyr Gibbs, 5.6. Brock Wright, 4.8. Jack Campbell, 4.6. Okay, so what is or are the most important contracts on the roster currently? And I think that we have to start looking at the 2023 draft class. And that starts with Jack Campbell. He got his first All-Pro this year. I believe he's going to get re-signed to a massive deal. Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, it's coming.
Do you think it'll be this year?
I think Jack is done this year. I think Gibbs you put on you're going to pick up both of their fifth year options. And then with Gibbs, you can 5th year control him, you can tag him. He may be the one that you eventually have to wait and see, because even though he's the second coming of whoever you want it to be, running backs are a dime a dozen, and their position is not valued the same as it once was. So, I mean, look at the best running back in the league, Christian McCaffrey. The Panthers let him go, and then now he's with San Fran. So you may see something like that with Gibbs. You may see where we let him go and we draft another one to keep it cheap and keep going on, because teams just don't want to pay all that money to running backs anymore.
Yeah, I think you're nuts. I think Jahmyr Gibbs, I love the story.
Dude, I love the player, but
I think that Jahmyr Gibbs is Jahmyr Gibbs is obviously going to stay. However, to your point, you're exactly right. A lot of teams
tag him.
They can tag. They have the control over the player. However, if they were going to even consider walking away from Jahmyr Gibbs, you pick up the 5th right now. You essentially have him for 2 more seasons. You could franchise tag him, which will be right around the same money as what he's going to get paid in an extension anyway. Or you have to seriously pick up Jeremiah Love in the draft this year in the first round, and that just won't make fans feel very comfortable at all. Unless the Lions do what I'm about to do, then they can do whatever the hell they want to do in the draft because they'll be able to do whatever they want in free agency.
There you go. They could also do the 5th-year option, maybe tag him once, or wait until he's on that last year, that he's actually playing on that 5th-year option, and then you sign him to a deal. And the year that you do that, the year that you sign him to that deal, you take your first-round pick and you draft a quarterback. Or you get your quarterback in the draft this year in the 3rd or the 4th round, get that Chambliss kid, and then
No way,
by
he's
the
too
time,
small.
Then by the time you get to Jared Goff retiring, you have a cheap quarterback contract, and then you can pay your expensive running back.
Yeah, I think that obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, they'll pick up the 5th year this year, but no later than the next year will they have to do a full extension. And if you're considering the running back market and it exploding over the next couple of seasons, the Lions would pick up the 5th this year when they need to. And then probably before week 1 or even by the trade deadline, you would see a full extension done because they're going to want to even save, even if it's $2 to $3 million a year that they save, which is about 10% of what the overall contract would be on, AAV. That's big money when you start to compound it and add it to all of the other contracts that they're going to have to do. So without getting too lost in the sauce, I want to start with Jack Campbell. So Jack Campbell is definitely going to get an extension. I'm going to throw out a couple of names here. Fred Warner, $21 million AAV. Roquan Smith, $20 million AAV. Tremaine Edmonds, $18 million. Zach Bond, $17 million. Nick Bolton, $15 million. Jack Campbell, I believe, is going to be in that realm of 18 to 23 million per year. Mm-hmm. And you're most likely looking at a 3-year extension. I mean, I would love to say, yeah, you give them a 5-year extension, but players aren't stupid. They know that if they sign a 5-year extension, that they're going to lose to a player like this, he would lose probably $20 million over the life of his career because you're going to miss out on the new dollar amount after year 3. So,
how much is the 5th-year option for Jack Campbell?
I don't have that up. Hold on.
I don't even know how to look that up.
It's in Spotrac and Over the Cap.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. I got that open.
So projected 5th-year options for 2026 for this year. Let's see.
Because he got an all-pro, so that should bump it up a little bit.
Yeah. Hold on here. That's not what I want.
I just can't seem to find. There it is.
Let's see. Jack Campbell, where are you at? Here he is. Playtime, he's definitely going to be tier 1. He made a Pro Bowl, didn't he, or didn't he not?
This year.
If he made the Pro Bowl, then he's going to get bumped up to.
Yeah, he made the Pro Bowl and he's an All-Pro.
Yeah, the All-Pro doesn't factor. It's Pro Bowls.
Oh, okay.
So his 5th-year extension is going to be $22.9 million, and that's fully guaranteed, which is a ton of money. And I would say that that's right about where he's going to end up. $23 million a year.
Yeah,
$23 million a year. So let's find Jack Campbell here. Let's go ahead and. Oh, I don't want to create a trade. I don't want to release him. I want to add on to his. I can't do anything. What in the world? Okay, I'm not going to mess with Jax. I'm not going to mess with any extensions then. I'm going to go ahead and do it the other way. Here's how we're going to do it. We're going to start with Jared Goff. I think that we all know and understand that the best way for the Lions to add draft capital is to get these contracts restructured to be able to do things in free agency, which allows them to keep their draft capital for what it is, which is whatever they want to do with it. That's the best way to create draft capital, is by opening up the opportunity to draft the guys that you want and not the guys that you need. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Jared Goff. Let's restructure him. Let's convert him to the minimum base this year. We're going to convert it to a bonus. We're going to give him 2 more void years. Bang. Lions just went to $46,851,000 in cap space.
Wow.
Just by doing that. Ali McNeil, could you do the same thing for him? Probably, but this is going to be like his first year of getting some major money. And I don't really see that happening. Amon-Ra St. Brown already received a big signing bonus, so I think that he would be next. If you wanted to go ahead and convert him to a signing bonus and add 2 years, bang, you're now at $68 million. This, remember, is before the league adds $30 million to this.
Mm-hmm.
This is before, and this is before the Lions roll over 2025 money. So we're going to add $50 million to the top of this number. So right now the Lions effectively had $118 million in cap space. If they did these 2 conversions by converting their entire salary, minus the minimum cap hit that you have to leave it at, which Amon-Ra would be 11.6, down from 33 million. Jared Goff would be at 26.6, down from 69 million. I don't think that they would go that far, but they could. They absolutely could. There's really no other big contracts on here that you have to really worry about. So what else could we do? Well, let's just say at this point, Taylor Decker retires. Let's say he retires, or the Lions can walk away from him. So you're going to assign him and apply a post-June 1 release. The Lions would incur a cap hit now of $21.348 million. The debt incurred in 26, would be $3.148 million. If you released him, the dead cap hit would be 9. Here, let's just do both. We'll assign and apply a post-June 1 release. Let's see what happens. So Taylor Decker, his cap hit is now a negative 21,348. Hold on here. What happened? I didn't see anything happen with the cap. Let's undo that.
Didn't change on my side either.
Hold on. Let's go in and release. There we go. That's the number I'm looking for. So if the Lions are to release Taylor Decker, the number goes up to $80 million. So they're going to gain right around $13 million in cap space by allowing that. Let me go back and find out where his name went. Where did he go? Where did he go? He's over here. We saved 11.9. It's in the far right. You can't see this on the screen. The conversion for Jared Goff, the Lions saved $42.96 million. The conversion for Amon-Ra St. Brown saved them $21.538 million. The release of Taylor Decker saves them $11.904 million. So they're going to eat, I think it's about $10 million over 2 years. Okay, so who's next on the list? Graham Glasgow?
Yep.
Okay, well, see you later, Graham. It's been nice, but it hasn't been that nice. You're going to save another $5.5 million. The Lions now have $85.8 million in cap space. $85.85 million, and that is before, again, the new league year bump and the rollover from 2025. So where does that put us, Eric?
A lot of money.
$135 million in cap space.
Yeah.
$135 million in cap space. So what does that do? What does that do for the Lions? What are we going to be able to do then? You want Tyler Linderbaum? Done.
Yeah.
Right? So now you've got your center of the future. So what does that do for the draft then? Well, like I said earlier, the best opportunity at creating draft capital is doing this, kick the can with the guys that you have. You don't necessarily have to go out in free agency and do anything just yet. But if you want to bring in a guy like Tyler Linderbaum, you have the money to do it. If you want to go out and sign anybody, you'll have the money to do it. Now, will the Lions really need this kind of money? No. Are they going to go out and spend $130 million in free agency? Doubtful. But if you want it, and if you want it done, this is how they can do it. Now, I'm going to undo a couple of these because I just feel like it's a little bit foolish to do all of this. And I wish that I could put exactly what numbers I wanted to add or what numbers I wanted to play with. Let me reset it. So remember, we're starting at 3.8 according to Spotrack's most recent numbers. Jared Goff. The only way that you can really do anything here is you can convert, even if we just did Jared Goff, and this is just the way that Spotrack does it. Let's just do the $46 million on Jared Goff and leave everybody else alone. Besides releasing Graham Glasgow. The reason why it's not giving me any money, Eric, is because it is a post June 1, so the money won't hit till later. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a regular release so that we get some money into the cap. And Taylor Decker. See, there needs to be more options. Like I need a I need a retirement option.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't have it in here. But let's just go ahead and you know what? Let's say Taylor Decker sticks around. Let's convert his contract. Let's gain $12 million this year by converting his contract.
For which one?
Taylor Decker. Let's say he sticks around. Okay. So Taylor Decker's going to stick around. We just converted him to a signing bonus. We converted Jared Goff to a signing bonus. We released Graham Glasgow. That essentially adds, what, 70 million? Where we at? 64.9 million in cap space. So that added about 60 million in cap space. Are we having fun yet?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's sign some free agents.
Yeah. I was going to say, we got some free agents. We got to sign.
Oh, hold on. Khalif Raymond. No, he's not. He's not on here.
Yeah, he's on this list.
Oh, why is this so small?
So the number one I would want to get done is Jake Bates.
Why is this not giving me a full size screen?
Yeah, same thing on my side.
What the hell? I'm gonna have to reach out to them, tell them their stuff's broke. All right, let's sign Avante. Let's sign
Roy Lopez.
But let's sign Al Qadim Muhammad. God dang, I can't read it.
Why not?
Can't you see my screen? Doesn't yours look the same?
Oh no, mine's in the middle.
Yeah, mine's in the middle, but I can't see anything.
No. My bubble in the middle. My bubble's in the middle of that. It fits in it. Yeah.
Why is mine all screwed up?
I don't know. Yours is screwy. Mine looks good.
Mine looks fine like this, but it doesn't when I start to do stuff with their... What the hell?
Yeah. I can do sign minimum, sign custom free agent contract.
All right, so I'm going to hit custom.
Sign contract via market value.
We'll do 2 years.
60 million. Yeah.
Void years. All right, how much is Al Qadim Muhammad worth?
2 years, 16.48 million.
That's total contract amounts of $8 million a year?
Yeah, so 2 years, 16 million.
All right, I'm going to go 2 years, 15 mil. Not 16. We'll do 15. Signing bonus we'll call it 5 mil. We'll give him a third of it.
How do you do custom?
Base salary, we'll leave it alone. Cap hit, we'll leave all that stuff alone. We're going to sign him. All right, he's done. Marcus Davenport, we're going to sign him to what, 26 million a year?
I don't see Marcus Davenport coming back this year. No,
really? I thought that we were going to trade him or trade Aiden Hutchinson and put Marcus Davenport as the number one.
Yeah.
No,
I do see Roy Lopez coming back. I
Yes.
think he is the number one of all the free agents. I think he's number one.
Jake Bates.
Number two for me is Jake Bates.
All right, let's get him signed. We'll go 2 years, void years.
$3 or $4 million a year. Franchise tag would be 6.8 million.
Yeah, we're not going to franchise tag a kicker. Ain't no freaking way.
And the minimum you can sign him to is 1 million.
Yeah, I don't think that'll happen either. I think that he's going to get a deal.
3-4 million a year, maybe possibly 5.
Hold on, I just dropped something.
Two-year extension.
Hoodie film. Okay, so for Jake Bates, extension projection is 3.8 to 4.2 million total. So let's just do a 2-year.
8 million.
Yeah, we'll just call it 8. We'll go on the high side. Signing bonus, we'll just do 1.5. It would probably be less than that, so they don't overcommit to the guy. All right, who's next here? I'm going from the bottom up. All right, Rockhound.
Yep, we want him back.
And please, in the chat, obviously in the comments, play along. Put your numbers in. Tell us who you want. How much? What are you seeing? What are you thinking?
Yeah. Are we stupid for wanting Jake Bates and Rocky Sin back?
Give me 1 second.
And just so you guys know, Jake Bates is a ERFA, so the Lions own his rights, and all of the other ERFAs, restricted free agents, he's an exclusive rights free agent. All of the other ones have been signed already. So the reason Jake Bates hasn't been done yet is most likely they are trying to work out a long-term extension instead of just giving him the 1 year.
Why aren't people saying see a Bates? What's wrong with Bates?
I don't think there's anything wrong with Bates at all. He went from a 90% his first year to 78% this year. Had a down year. He's fine.
Yeah, I think he's all right. I mean, he's the best kicker we've had in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely have to keep him on even if it's a smaller deal and you work out some more kickers, great. So Rockhound, how old is he? 30 years old? Let's just say Brad works his magic. We get a 1 year contender deal for 2.5. And we'll just fully guarantee it. Oh, that probably wouldn't happen, but then again, I've seen the Lions do similar things. We'll do a 1 year deal on him. The Lions are probably going to bring Kyle Allen back to a minimum cap hit. We'll bring him back. Lions. How about Avonte Maddox?
I would not be opposed whatsoever. He was our savior down the line. I mean, he intercepted Caleb Williams in the end zone on the last game. Yeah, Avonte Maddox, bring him on in. He played all over the place. He was our Swiss Army knife for the year.
Question is how much?
1 year minimum if he'll come back.
Let's do the same thing. Let's give him a 1-year deal. No void years. We'll do 2.5 on him as well. We'll just fully guarantee it for the hell of it. That way we can at least chew up some of this money. Tyrus Wheat, he'll be back. Now he is a exclusive rights, right?
Let's see.
There's he's restricted.
Restricted free agent. So we basically own his. Didn't we already re-sign him?
I don't know. I clearly we didn't. If he's on this list, then I don't think he's re-signed.
Oh, because they took care of all the
futures.
The
those are practice squad guys.
Yeah.
Where was Tyrus Reed was injured, right? To end the season?
I do not remember. Oh, yes, he was.
Yeah. So that's why he's not signed yet.
Oh, you can put him on tenders on here.
No, I just gave him the minimum.
Okay.
So looking at the next guy, let's go. I'm going to save Al-Qadim Muhammad for last. Grant Stewart, I think he'll probably be back. Clearly great on special teams.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what his deal was for 2025?
For which one? For
Grant Stewart. Yep. You got to make sure you're on 2025.
All right. Look here.
Yeah, Attila, we're not doing draft stuff right now. We're doing free agency stuff. I do like the Drew Aller pick, though.
So Grant Stewart was a 1-year fully guaranteed. Let me go back. I was just reading it. $1.7 million contract with the Detroit Lions, featuring a $350,000 signing bonus.
All right, so we'll bump him up to 2.5. Again, that's a big bump up, but we'll bump him up and we'll bump up his guaranteed signing to $500K. Just get him on the books. Levi, I don't think so. Marcus, I don't think so. Josh Pascal, I don't think so. Khalif Raymond, I don't think so. Alex Anzalone, I don't think so.
What about Amik?
I don't think so. They're going to let him walk.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I think Amik Robinson's going to be back.
I don't think so just yet. Zach Cunningham, no way. Ezekiel Turner, better not. Jamarco Jones, nope. Shane Zielstra, please no. Trevor Nowaski, absolutely. But he's going to need a little bit more of a deal. I think you get Trevor 2 years. They can add a void year if they want. We'll go $6 million on Trevor. Oops. That's probably way too much for him. Hold on. This thing is not letting me get out of this. Here, I'll just say I'm done. Let me go back. Did I actually sign him? Okay, there he is. He's there.
And then what do you think about Malcolm Rodriguez coming back?
Probably. He should be on the bottom somewhere.
Yeah, he's right second from the bottom.
Oh, why he's not on my list? Why is this still popped up? There we go. I didn't get canceled. All right, Malcolm. I'll bring him back on the minimum for now to make it easy. Daniel Thomas. What do you think?
Iffy. You know,
Iffy Melifonwu?
No. He's kind of iffy whether I would want him back or not. He showed flashes. I mean, he did get an interception, but man, the kid got burned a lot.
But he's going to be a primary backup if you do bring him back.
Yeah. Maybe he can learn. So yeah, let's bring him back.
I don't know
you
about.
Got to have somebody. You have to fill out a roster. You can't have,
Well, remember, a lot of these guys that are you're just signing them to bring them through camp.
Yeah.
You're trying to get to your 90 man just to get these guys signed to get into camp. So he was a free agent. He's 27 years old. He was making 1.5. It looks like it was fully guaranteed. No, what was it? 1.5. Oh, 75,000 guarantee? That's it? Wow.
Yeah.
I snaked him. All right, let's sign him. We'll put him in at a minimum. Who else is left here? So DiCaprio Boodle, no. Shane Zielstra, no. Jamarco Jones, no. Zach Cunningham, no. Ezekiel Turner, no. Coyote Waska, see ya. Josh Pascal, out. Davenport, out. Levi, out. Amik Robertson, Khalif Raymond, Alex Anzalone, DJ Reader. All right, Al-Qadim Muhammad.
And you did Roy Lopez?
I don't see him on here yet. Maybe I did. I'll have to double check. Maybe I accidentally hit it.
You might have already done him. He's on my list.
I'll double check in a minute.
I think he's going to be the number one free agent signing for the Detroit Lions.
Internal.
Yeah, the one they're going to want to get done the most.
So Al-Qadim Muhammad is intriguing because I could see him being anywhere between a Kyle Van Noy deal of a 2-year, $9 million deal, $4.5 million a year, to a Danico Autry deal, which is a 2-year, $20 million deal. I could see him anywhere in between that.
Well, and you know that Muhammad, he wants to cash in. He knows that he's old enough. This is probably his last good shot at a contract. He's going to want to maximize his deal, and he's said as much.
So then I'll give him 2 years, $13.5 million. I'll guarantee $2.5 million at sign, and that's all you're getting from me, buddy.
You may say no to that.
I don't think he has a choice. I mean, there's not many players that are making much more than that. I mean, is he better than Danico Autry?
Yeah.
No, he's not. Roy Lopez. Why don't I see him on my list? I don't see him.
Did you might have already done him. Yeah, and this says his market value is 3 years at $19 million.
Yeah, you sign that in a heartbeat. There he is right here. I have him signed. Let me undo that. All right, let's go back to Roy Lopez. We're going to sign him. He's young, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he's, 26, 27? He's 27, so he'll be 27, 28, 29. He was $3.5 million this last year. We'll do a 2-year deal. We'll bump him up to
double. Give him 6 per.
Yeah, we'll go 2 years. We'll do 12.5. Signing bonus. His was fully guaranteed last time. We'll do 3.5. All right, DJ Reader.
Mm-hmm.
I think if you bring back Roy Lopez, you have Tyreek Williams, you have Ali McNeil healthy. I think you're good there.
Yeah.
And you look at the draft to bring in another young guy on the defensive line. And then you also sign, hopefully, Wheat and Lacey back.
Well, then they finally used Wingo at the end of the year as well.
Yeah, and the Wingo is...
it was weird. He played against the Bears in both games. That was it.
Yeah.
And he was great in that last game.
He made some plays.
You heard his name.
I'm gonna leave the rest of these guys off the list. It doesn't mean that I don't want to see Amik back, but I do like his utilization when we have a full complement of a secondary. I don't like his utilization when we don't have a full complement. However, you have to assume that we're gonna have our starters. Here's the thing about free agents, and here's the thing about having guys that are backups. You can't get down on these guys when you have a bunch of injuries. You can't. These guys are, backups or playing with backups, and they can't do their damn job. I get it that it's still one-on-one, but you're getting stretched extremely thin. And teams are going to be able to target you or do things that can expose you because you don't have a secondary. So Meek Robertson is a lot better than what people give him credit to be. I get it that he got burned a few times, but tell me another corner that wouldn't get burned in the situation that he was in. No safety help over top that was worth a spit. And until DJ Reed came back, that was a complete mess over there at times. Rocky Sin did a admiral job, and of course I want to see him back. I would have Rocky Sin back over Meek Robertson because of size. If you bring Amik Robertson back, it's depth, and he's not going to want to be depth. And I think that's the problem that you run against with that, is that he's going to have to fight his way onto the field. I want a better nickel, a bigger nickel than Amik. But I do like him. I just don't see him coming back right now. So for right now, we'll leave the rest of these guys off the list. Where are we at? So we still have $100 million in cap space. When you add the $30 million that's going to hit the bank, and you have $20 million rollover, let's just call it $90 million. And all we did was what? We restructured Jared Goff's contract, restructured Taylor Decker, and that's really it. And now we have how many players signed? Why doesn't it tell me? Let me just go down to the bottom. Let's count the last number. 58. So we have 58 guys now. So we're a lot closer. You're going to add, roughly 6-7 guys in the draft. So now you're looking at 64, 65 guys. You still have 15 guys left to sign, which you probably get 7, 8, 9 UDFAs. So you're still looking at 3, 4, 5, free agents potentially. Did I sign any league players yet? I didn't, right? All right, let's go get. Hold on a sec. All right. Let's go get Tyler Linderbaum.
How do you do that?
Just like I did right there. I wish I could
Oh, I see now.
type the name in.
Yeah, you got to hit league.
And why is it? It's not even organized whatsoever. This is crazy to have to do it this way.
With the name on the very top, Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah. But why? One, it's not even alphabetical.
Says his market value is 2 years, 50 million.
Yeah, like I said, he was going to get $25 million. Y'all thought I was nuts.
Yeah,
Everyone thinks I'm nuts when I throw out these numbers, but I'm not nuts. I'm telling you, I do a lot of research, and my theory is,
I think that Trey Hendrickson cost himself some money. I think he would have got more had he signed that extension for $30 million with the Bengals that they offered. Because now he'll end up getting less.
all right, Tyler Linderbaum. All right, Tyler Linderbaum market value according to Spotrac right now is 17.7. 4 years at 70 million, and I think that number is going to be a lot higher. He'll probably do a 3-year deal instead of 4. A lot of players prefer 3-year deals. Yes, we'll do void years. Total amount, we're going to do 70 million at 3 years, not 70 million at 4. Anything you want to add to this?
I'm fine with that. Yeah. I'm just sitting here looking through, seeing who the other centers are that are free agents. I wish you could just put them all together, you know. Some of these guys, I don't even know who they are.
Why don't you, if you want to pull up his PFF stuff and go through his PFF and kind of give us a rundown of what he did this last year.
Homes.com's comprehensive search layers cover.
Oh, okay. Make sure everything's muted. Goodness. Homes.com. So if we were to compare him, I'm looking at Creed Humphrey, who signed a 4-year, $72 million deal. He was 25 when he was signed. Cam Jurgens signed a 4-year, $68 million deal. He was also 25. Lloyd Cushenberry signed a 4-year, $25 million or $50 million deal. He was 26. Drew Dahlman, and the Bears stole him. 3 years, $42 million, $14 million a year average at 26 years old. How in the hell did they get that done? I have no idea, but they did. And that's just nuts to me.
Yep.
A statistical comparison right now between what Tyler Linderbaum has done compared to Creed Humphrey, Cam Jurgens, Lloyd Cushenberry, Drew Dahlman. Quarterback hurries allowed per game. Tyler Linderbaum, 1.06. Drew Dahlman, 1.2. Lloyd Cushenberry, 0.56. That was through the 23 season. Cam Jurgens, 23 to 24, 1.48. Creed Humphrey, 22 to 23, 0.74. Tyler Linderbaum, like I said, 24 to 25. He allowed 1.06. Sacks allowed per game. Tyler Linderbaum, 0.06. Better than everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
The league average for all of this, games played percentage is 80%. Tyler Linderbaum, 100%. Quarterback hurries allowed per game, the league average is 1. Tyler Linderbaum is 1.06. Quarterback sacks allowed per game, the league average is 0.13. Tyler Linderbaum, 0.06. His overall rating league-wide is 73.6. Linderbaum, 78.95. The question becomes, is he a direct fit to the Lions for what he can do on the field? Can he be utilized in the run game the way that the Lions utilize their centers in the run game? Will our new offensive coordinator, be able to manage that as well? And those are things that we don't know yet because we don't know who the OC is going to be. We have no idea what their tendencies are.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, is he one of the best in the league? Absolutely, he is. He's probably the best center in the league right now. So if the Lions go ahead and go out in free agency and sign this guy, That's where I'm thinking it's way more than the $18 million a year. He's better than all the other guys that were making $18 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking two significant jumps between 24 and 25 with league pay going up more than 10%. So even if I went up 10% on Creed Humphrey's deal, and then I went up another 10% for this year, well, then that would be 18 million. Let's see, that would be 18 million times 1.1. So that'd be at least 22 million a year.
I did look up his PFF grades. And overall, he's a 79.8, which is pretty darn good. His pass blocking is 63.4, average. And then run blocking grade is 83.1, which is above average. So you want to talk about helping Jahmyr Gibbs. There you go, right there. He played 1,007 snaps, had 5 penalties and 2 sacks.
In 25?
Yep, in 2025.
It's a pretty decent season. Here's my take on Linderbaum. The bottom line for him is if Linderbaum hits the open market, which I think is expected at this point with the head coaching change and everybody changed now in Baltimore, he immediately becomes the highest paid center in NFL history. I expect a bidding war to ensue. It could be a 4-year deal. It could be a 3-year deal. And I think it's going to be worth closer to $75 million than not. At a 4-year deal, I think you're looking at $75 million. A 3-year deal, I think, is arbitrarily going to be a little bit more, just because it's less years. So what I mean by that is more per year on the lower number of years. The guarantee, I think, is going to be about 50 to 60%, whatever the number is. On the open market, this is a rare situation because no tag leverage for the Ravens. They cannot realistically franchise tag them. The tag groups, all offensive linemen together, tackles, guards, centers, meaning his tag number would be $27 million. So they're not going to tag him.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
So no team pays a center $27 million a year. That's number one wide receiver money. They declined his 5th-year option, but Baltimore declined the 5th-year option to avoid a similar $23 million cap hit. He is a true unrestricted free agent in 2026. The result, he has 0 barriers in free agency, which means if Baltimore doesn't pay him, someone else is going to. His market ceiling, I think you have to look at Creed Humphrey to be the bar. Linderbaum's agent will look directly at Creed Humphrey's deal, which was signed with the Chiefs in late of 2024, and that's going to be the floor. The floor is $18 million a year, and you're adding 10% to that because of the league adding at least 10% again this year. At least that's what I've heard. Now, the offer structure, I think this is where you could run into some situations with making that's why I'm going to put 2 situations together on paper when I put this together later. But for today's experience, it's going to be a 3-year deal. I want to put a 3 and a 4-year deal together. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go 3 years, $68 million, and I'm going to put his signing bonus at 1/3 of the number for now. The reason why the Lions should sign him, I think that he is a perfect scheme fit for what we've been doing. The gap, the zone hybrid run scheme, I think that he moves like a tight end in space. I mean, the dude is special in space. If you haven't watched Tyler Linderbaum, you need to. You need to go find some highlights or something. Watch that dude run. The problem is the Lions could potentially draft a center early, and it could be 2nd round, which would be game-changing for the Lions if they were able to find a competent center, to get moving. But then you have that question of, okay, if Brad is really going to make these moves with this roster in draft capital and restructuring, then you have to give it some consideration that they are going to go to free agency to shore up the most important pieces to this team, which is the offensive line. I don't think that they're going to do anything else but offensive line in free agency and possibly another corner or a safety. So we'll go 3 years. Signing bonus. We're gonna do 23.5.
If you can make that happen, I say do it, because that opens up the draft for you. That makes it where you can draft whoever falls to you at 17. You don't have to move up. You don't have to move back. You can take the BPA, the best player available. And that's what Brad loves to do. He likes to take whoever falls to him and is the best player in the draft.
That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, this is exactly where your draft cap opens up by freeing up some cap space, signing the guys that you need to sign from your roster. And then if you do go out in free agency and I think Brad is calculated and smart in free agency, he's not looking to go just, sign somebody just because. He's not looking to make the fan base healthy or happy. What he's looking to do is maximize his free agency dollars. And that is bringing in players that can make a difference, not players that, whether that's depth difference, high value depth guys, or it's somebody like a Tyler Linderbaum who's young, who's proven, even a left tackle, whoever that young, proven left tackle is that some other team screwed up on a contract with, that would be another option. But I don't know that there's one of those that exists right now. Tyler Linderbaum's in a very unique situation.
Yeah.
Very unique. They
didn't pick up his 5th-year option.
The Ravens really screwed the pooch on this one. Like they royally effed up. So how about a number 1 safety out in the market this year?
Who would that be?
That is a free agent. Is that Jaquan Brisker in Chicago? Not that I want him. Is it Jalen Thompson in Arizona? Is it... who's the Jaguar safety? Why can't I remember his name?
I don't know.
Hold on, Jaguars roster.
I just came across a name in these free agents because they're not listed in any order or any. I wish you could put them by, position. Kevin Zeitler is an unrestricted free agent this year.
Yeah, he's so old now. He wanted to go back home to Tennessee. I don't see him coming back.
Yeah. Oh, I get that. Yeah. I'm not saying coming back here. I'm just saying it's interesting that he is.
Shoot.
Kevin Byard from Chicago. Looks like Chicago, all their safeties are free agents this year.
Probably. Who is hold on. Jaguars' number 1 safety was who? Eric Murray, Andrew Wingard? And I like that Antonio Johnson. And he's someone I wanted the Lions to pick up in the draft a while back. 6'2", 198 out of Texas A&M. He was selected round 5 in 2023. I don't know who we selected in round 5 of 23, but this would have been the guy to pick up. He had 5 interceptions this year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Antonio Johnson. I don't know what his contract is. I have a feeling that he's going to get locked up.
Hey, here's a safety for us. Miles Killebrew is a free agent.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Let's take a look at Antonio Johnson for a moment. Just briefly, and then I'll be done with this in here in just a few moments. Antonio, Jacksonville.
Ifeatu Malafanu.
So if he was drafted in 23, 24, 25, that means in 2026 is his final year. We would have to trade because he's under contract. So we'd have to trade for him I'd be willing to give up. Hell, I'd be willing to give up a 4th round pick for Johnson. It's exactly what I would do. And bring him in on a 1-year rental, see what happens with Kirby, and if you have to, then you sign him to an extension the next year. I would bring him in. Where is it? Oh, there they are. Johnson. Why can't these be in order?
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating when you're trying to find someone. And it's just a jumbled list.
Oh my god, it didn't even let me do what I was trying to do.
I did find where you can find the whole list of safeties, and going by previous average of their contracts and what they were worth. Kyle Duggar is the number 1 safety from Pittsburgh that is available.
Is that an AI search, or is that, did you look it up?
This is on Spotrac.
All right, 2026 4th round draft pick. I'm willing to part with that. I know that's big. And I'm going to go trade with Jacksonville for Antonio Johnson. I wonder what the rest of the world would think about this trade. And I think I'm going to do a video on it today and see what they think.
Yeah, according to Spotrac, the free agent safety with the highest market value would be Brian Cook from Kansas City at 14.6 million per year.
I think I keep flying past this guy's name.
So I don't know the name Brian Cook, but apparently he's pretty good for the Chiefs here.
My God, where is his freaking name? What the hell? Why? What in the world is going on with this? Spotrac, this is stupid. Seriously, I don't get why you'd ever set something up like this. Why was his name in there just a minute ago and now it's no longer in here? Am I just not seeing it?
Yeah.
No, it's literally not in here.
Wow.
Let me start over. It was just in there.
Which player?
Antonio Johnson.
Okay.
I mean, I just traded for the guy and then I undid it because it didn't let me process the trade that I was trying to make. I jumped the gun on it. Oh my God. I mean, is he still attached to my sheet? He's not. Okay, well, forget the trades for the day because the thing's being stupid. All right, any other free agents?
Yeah, the one I'm looking up is this Brian Cook from Kansas City. He was a 2nd round pick. He's played all 4 years, and now they're saying his market value is $14.6 million.
Well, you go look up his stats. I mean, talk to us about him.
That's what I'm looking up right now. Let's see. Why don't they just put his stats right where you can find stuff?
If it's on Spotrac, it should have an area when you click on his name, it'll bring it right up, and then you can look at his stats.
But it doesn't.
What in the world? Why is he not on this list anymore?
Here, I'll just type it in.
Huh. Ridiculous. Any other free agents, though, that I need to sign? Or let go? Anybody else we need to let go? David Montgomery, are we going to trade him?
No, I'm not doing anything with that right now.
Well, I mean, I think that you do. Maybe that's the trade. Maybe that's the trade. Maybe you trade David Montgomery to Jacksonville, and you swap their safety for David Montgomery. Does Jacksonville need a number 1 running back right now, or even a number 2?
Yeah,
that's the question, right? Do they or don't they? Let's see. Who do they have? They have Travis Etienne, Bashul Tootin, LaQuaint Allen, DJ Dallas. Of course they need David Montgomery. Absolutely they need Travis or David Montgomery. This Bashul Tootin had 83 carries for 307 yards, 5 TDs. He's 5'9", 209. Travis Etienne had 260 carries, 1107. He's 5'10", 215. He's a former 2021 first round draft pick 25. So he's obviously not going anywhere. Their third backup, nothing doing there. And then their fourth guy, DJ Dallas. What a name, DJ Dallas. 5'10".
Yeah, and forget this Brian Cook guy from the Chiefs. I think Spotrak's drunk because his stats are not all that great. Why he'd be the number 1 safety is beyond me.
Let's see what they're saying.
Rob E did bring up a good one. How about Minkah Fitzpatrick?
He's old, isn't he? Is he even playing?
Yeah, he got sent back down to the Dolphins. He went from the Dolphins to the Steelers, and then from the Steelers back to the Dolphins in that trade that they did. He's 27. That's not old.
I thought that there was something about Minkah though. So he was a Texan. I'm sorry, he was Texan. He was a Steeler, and then he was a Dolphin.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
He's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro.
Yeah. He's an interception machine.
He used to be. He didn't have any interceptions. We had 1 interception this year. He's been around the league since 2018, so he's 8 years in the league. This will be 9. I mean, so he would be a proven vet. What's his contract right now?
Let's see.
So if you're looking for a proven vet, I don't know his injury history. I don't know anything on Minkah right now, but yeah, he's getting $18.8 million right now in 2026. I don't see the Lions doing that. It's way too much money. You'd have to. I mean, we still have to sign Brian Branch here. Let's do that real quick. Are we signing Brian Branch? What are we doing?
Yeah, you're gonna have to do something because he's a 2nd-round pick. This will be his lame duck year, and that's it. You have to have him, and I would think that the Detroit Lions are going to value him, even though he has the Achilles injury. Even a 90% Brian Branch is going to be better than 90% of the safeties in the NFL.
What I don't understand is why this does not allow me. Why this is not allowing me to extend guys, just pick up their 5th-year option, yada, yada, yada. It's not letting me do it. I can't do anything with those guys. So all I can do is sign free agents. I can cut guys. I can manage contracts. I can trade guys. So let me just try to trade David Montgomery this way. Simulate for no players, but picks in return. Do a quick trade or create a trade with another team. Let's try to create a trade with another team. Oh, it already has Jacksonville selected for me. Let's see if Antonio is in there this time. Oh my God. It's not. Why is he not in here? I don't get it, man. Whatever. All right, let's trade Demo for some picks. Screw it. All right, Demo's gone. What do we get back? Looks like we got a fifth and a sixth. We got a fifth and a sixth for Demo, or a fifth.
A fifth would be, man. I know we love him and everything else, but I don't know if he gets us that much in return.
I think you're capped out at a fourth round draft pick.
Yeah.
So anyway, so if the Lions did something similar to this, you got Tyler Linderbaum, you restructured Jared Goff's contract, you restructured Taylor Decker to stick around for one more season. Tyler Linderbaum's cap hit's only $5.8 million this year. You brought back Vontae Maddox, Rock Ya-Sin, Roy Lopez. You signed out Kadeem Muhammad to a decent deal. Cap hit's only 1.8. Got Grant Stewart back, Malcolm Rodriguez, Jake Bates, Daniel Thomas, Trevor Nowatzki, Tyler Sweet, Kyle Allen, and everybody else that was already on the roster. You've got your futures deals here. I assume that these are all our futures deals. Malik Cunningham, Devin Cochran, Zach Horton, Seth McLaughlin, Jackson Meeks, Mason Miller, Jabari Small, Ahmed Hassanin. Kai Robichaud is still on this, which doesn't make any sense. But I don't know why. We brought back Chris Smith again, right, on a futures deal. Lawrence Strickland. We still have Dan Jackson hanging out, which, again, we don't know what he's going to be this year, but there was some hype and hope last year. Tyler Lacey's under contract for the season. So that's a good start. And we have 58 players so far. And then we'd have $48 million left over to do whatever we wanted, plus the rollover, plus the $30 million from the NFL. So the Lions effectively would have another $98 million still to go. It's been a long day already. I mean, I could continue going. But I think what I want to do is I want to put more of this together behind the scenes and then do a quick all in. This is what I would do for the Lions in 2026. And that way I can keep it managed, under control, and talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be a good plan. Anything else you want to talk about today?
No, I think I'm pretty good. We're going to get Kafka in for a interview today. We did McDaniels yesterday, and then McDaniels has 4 or 5 other teams that he's going to go interview with. So I'm guessing it's going to take probably a week, maybe 2, before we have a new offensive coordinator. It might take some time depending on what other teams do.
You know, I'm glad you brought up Mike Kafka because I blew over that this morning.
Yeah.
So here's Mike McCafka, the West Coast RPO option. Is Mike Kafka? Is he the next Lions offensive coordinator here in 2026? He's the Patrick Mahomes whisperer. He's a modern spread office guru, if you will, and he's got great red zone creativity. I think that when you look at maintaining high production without reinventing the wheel, so to speak, Mike Kafka comes into the fold. I think he spent the last 12 months managing probably one of the fiercest firestorms in the NFL with the New York Giants and everything that kind of fell apart over there. You know, being the interim head coach, I think it gave him a really amazing opportunity to learn more, right, about how to manage a team, what's involved. Is he ready for a head coaching job? Probably not. But offensive coordinator roles, I think that's where he's going to end up this year. So whether it's with the Buccaneers or the Lions, I think that he could end up here. and there's some reasons why. He's in this fascinating paradox right now as, like I said, is he the quarterback whisperer that he was with Patrick Mahomes? He helped mold Patrick Mahomes into the legend that he is today. Or is he the captain of a sinking ship like he's been in New York? You know, which one is he? I think you do have to look at him as quietly proving himself as one of the league's most adaptable schematic architects. And he's got this crossroads of Andy Reid and Brian Daboll coaching trees where he's been brought up into the league, and his archetype truly is the West Coast RPO hybrid. Kafka is a direct descendant of the Andy Reid West Coast spread offense. His base language is pure West Coast timing, spacing, horizontal, and stretch, which is lions, 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 and lions. He has the dialect of the modern RPO, which is run pass option, which we use to a degree. It's just different. And then unlike the McVay tree, so he's one that's unlike McVay, which relies heavily on play action and condensed formations to set up the deep shot. Kafka's system spreads the field to run the ball, which I love. In that he utilizes 11 and 10 personnel, which the Lions did a lot last year, to lighten the box before hammering defenses with the gap scheme runs. Hello? What did we do last year? Exactly that. What did we do the year before? Exactly that. We would open it up and then slam them with the run game, and then the play action starts to run itself, honestly. So the case for Mike Kafka would be adaptability under fire. The strongest argument for Kafka is not the statistical dominance, but it's crisis management that he's been involved in the last year. 25 Giant season derailed by injuries. So were we. Most notably, the loss of Malik Neighbors to IR, but then managing that mess of Jackson Dart, you know, in and out with concussions and then losing their running back that was, he was having a season. What the hell was his name again? Who was the rookie running back that broke his ankle?
Oh, Scadaboo.
Scadaboo, yeah. Love Scadaboo. So he was having a good season. Jackson Dart, when he was in, was doing well as a rookie. But managing that, what a nightmare for an interim head coach. So the case for Kafka is the scramble drill structure. Without Neighbors, the offensive line shuffling, Kafka still pivoted to a heavy RPO and quick game attack, protected his quarterback or quarterbacks, and proved that he could manufacture the easy yards for the fringe roster players, which, you know, our offense didn't see a lot of fringe this year on the offense, but we did on the defense. He proved that he could manufacture it, right? His production came from the tight ends, the running backs, when the wide receiver room was decimated. So that tells me that you have a coach that can think on the fly, can scramble on the fly, right? And make quick decisions that are going to help the team. His proof of concept, if you go back and look at 2022 versus 2025, you see a Kafka in 2022 with a healthier roster, coaching Daniel Jones to his best professional season, which was not great. 15 TDs. It's terrible. But that was his best season. 3,200 yards, 5 interceptions, 708 rushing yards, and a playoff win. That team, I think, finished 9-8 that year. If I'm not mistaken, they barely limped into the playoffs. But his risk mitigation model is exactly what Detroit needs, maybe with Jared Goff, or to get Jared Goff in this offense back on track. The argument against could be the Daboll shadow. The primary knock on Kafka is the difficulty in separating his philosophy from Brian Daboll's. Kafka needs to be his own person. And for the first 2 years in New York, I think the offense was viewed as Daboll's brainchild, with Kafka merely just kind of pulling the strings, pushing the buttons. When Kafka finally took full control as the interim head coach in 25, the offense became noticeably conservative, though. They relied more on heavy 12 and 13 personnel to protect the crumbling offensive line, which I probably should have added this to my article. I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. I think that what he was doing is exactly what the Lions needed to do. Instead of still operating out of 11 personnel, the Lions have an offensive line that has fallen apart. And instead of going to 12 and 13 personnel, which we should have done, we still run 11 personnel and it's not working. no run game. In some games, I mean, everything just falling apart. And at least Kafka saw, hey, I got to help my guys out. I've got to give them, more protection to at least run the ball and help your quarterback to stay on his feet. So to me, that shows growth, even though it's a risk potential. I think it shows growth out of a interim head coach that sees that something needed to change. Other risks, survival mode habit in an effort to protect a battered roster. Kafka, his play calling became incredibly conservative. Okay, I get it, but I think it would have worked in Detroit, that conservative approach. Can he flip the switch back to aggressive in Detroit with Jameson Williams? I hope so. And then you have the Reed trap. Many assistants leave Andy Reid and fail because they try to replicate the complexity of the Chiefs' offense without Patrick Mahomes. I think that Kafka would realize right away, I don't have Patrick Mahomes, and I can't do what they were doing there. So he's got to prove that he can simplify this cheeseburger playbook, if you will, for a rhythm passer like Jared Goff. Rhythm and timing, man. That's what we're all about. He does have some strengths, believe it or not. He has the Kelce blueprint, which would be the Sam Laporta usage. Kafka spent 5 seasons in a room watching Travis Kelce just dismantle zones. I want that in Detroit. I want to see him utilize the Y ISO concepts better than anyone in the league in Detroit. I want to see him utilize it. He would immediately turn Sam Laporta into a primary intermediate weapon, which we know, Eric, when that disappeared later on in the season, the Lions stalled on third downs. Just get stalled out and stalled in the red zone. You need to have Sam Laporta involved, especially when you want to beat aggressive cover 2, cover 3 teams. Red zone creativity. This is the hallmark of the Reed tree. It's the goal line geometry. Kafka does excel at using the orbit and the jet motion in the low red zone to confuse linebackers, which again is key to help Jahmyr Gibbs and others with his skill set, at least others leverage the perimeter for easy walk-in touchdowns. How many times did we see the easy walk-in touchdowns for Jahmyr Gibbs in 24 and 23? It was laughable. It was laughable. But last year we didn't see hardly any. But the 2 years before that, he would either catch the ball or just start running to the outside. He's just kind of looking back. Then he turned around and starts running backwards because nobody's there.
Yeah.
RPO layering, another effective usage of Kafka's system in the run game. It's rarely just a run, right? It's almost always tagged with a backside slant or bubble screen. This forces defenders to play slow, something that would allow Detroit's elite, offensive line, hopefully in 26, it gets back to that, to dominate that second level. Why does he fit? I think that Kafka fits Detroit simply because he offers schematic continuity with the Reed twist, the Goff protection plan, the Gibbs unleashing, both needed. Ideal landing spots, Detroit. I think the roster is ready-made for the West Coast spread system. The Lions need to find that sweet spot between the bunch and spread systems to layer in the run concepts to take advantage of the weaponry on this roster. Cleveland Browns popped into my head last night or the other night. A team needing a quarterback stabilizer like the Browns who can marry the run game and the pass game. Young quarterback in Shedeur Sanders, I think, would be a good fit. Philadelphia Eagles, they walked away from Kevin Patullo. Fired the dude. So given the history with his franchise as a former player, that could be an interesting fit there too. And then obviously his understanding of those teams up in the Northeast, he understands them well. My verdict, high floor pivot. I think that Mike Kafka isn't the trendy hire that will create these viral clips of Mike McDaniel. But he's arguably the most prepared. I think that he's seen the mountaintop with Mahomes and the valley with the 25 Giants. He's been everywhere in between. That gives him a spectrum of experience that makes him uniquely qualified to handle the pressure of a perceived Super Bowl window in Detroit. He offers the structure that Jared Goff needs. I think that the creativity that Jahmyr Gibbs deserves and that Reed pedigree that'll keep defenses awake at night when you start thinking about Jameson Williams. My choice, Kafka's not my first choice. Too many names available right now to settle on one after Blau was retained in Washington. I do believe Kafka could bring a system that works well inside the Detroit Lions offensive roster. I think that he will have to earn the respect of this team like anyone else. Given his Super Bowl championship in 2019 with the Chiefs and his work with some of the league's best players the last decade, I think that's a good start. I think that Kafka will be able to earn the respect of the players simply because of his pedigree and what he's done. There's a video on this inside this article. If you'd like to read the article, make sure you subscribe to the Detroit Football Journal while you're there, then watch the video. It was a post-game press conference of Kafka on December 15th, and I thought that he handled it very well. Anything you want to add, and then we're out of here.
Yeah, so Kafka, I don't think it's a bad choice if we end up going with him. Look what he did when he was the interim playing versus the Detroit Lions. They pulled every trick out of the bag. Jameis Winston caught a touchdown, and look at the game he had. I mean, he threw for over 300 yards versus the Lions defense. And if I remember correctly, Jameis Winston is a free agent quarterback this year. So what if you did a double dink and you brought in Jameis Winston as one of your backups, either your second or third backup, and you bring in Kafka? That might work out okay for the Detroit Lions. That's a little outside of the box.
Did you just bring in Jameis Winston to the Detroit Lions?
I did.
I kind of like that. Well, how's he? I can't twist my however he does that.
The W.
Yeah, the W.
Eating dubs.
The W. Jameis Winston in Detroit would be I don't think that's the worst idea you've ever had.
Nope.
You wanting Dan Orlovsky in Detroit might be, but
whatever with that one. That ain't my idea.
Sure it is.
I can't stand Dan Orlovsky.
That's all.
And you know, listen, I really loved him when he first got on ESPN or whatever station he's on. And he was an analyst, and you know, he was really good in the beginning, and he'd give the Lions some love, but over the years, he's just, even when we were good, even when we were 15-2, he just could not give them their flowers. He just would not admit that he was wrong.
You know, Eric, I have to get back to being more impartial. I think that's why a lot of people started watching me in the very beginning, because I was really impartial, and I think I got a little emotionally attached to the Lions at times, and trying to separate the fan and analyst is tough. And I think over the last year, it's been a little bit more tough, because it's like, damn, this team is starting to bother me right now. Like they're not making the right decisions. And I think that's what Dan Orlovsky realized as well. Like he was a fanboy of the Lions for a while Stafford was here. He was a fanboy while Jared was here, maybe the first year.
No.
Maybe
never.
the first year. And then he did not like Jared Goff as a quarterback. He didn't think like he could do anything, but I think he was still a fanboy of the Lions. And I think it surged a little bit in 23 when we, started to have some success with Jahmyr Gibbs. And then it's like he just turned, red coat and took off.
Yeah, I would love to go back and look and see what he thought of the Gibbs pick during the draft. He probably thought we were nuts. He probably gave us an F.
Find it. Look, that's a great segment for you all off season. Go find every Dan Orlovsky shit take on the Lions, and we'll put it in every day. We'll put it in every day. It'll probably be the last segment of the day or the first segment of the day, so that we can clip it out, because I'm sure it'll get copyright hit.
Yeah.
Anyway, interesting conversation today. What will the Lions do in 2026 with their cap casualties? And is it really a cap casualty that the Lions have to worry about the most this year, or is it getting the Lions contracts managed and hoping that Jared Goff? Here's the one thing that I forgot to share, that we got to the end of this 30 seconds and I'm out of here. We're at $48.459 million. We brought in Tyler Linderbaum. We re-signed a bunch of guys, right? We got Al-Qadim Muhammad on a big deal, Roy Lopez on a decent deal, Grant Stewart, Malcolm. We got a lot of good players back. What happens if I undo this? Oh, I just undid Jared Goff's restructuring. And we've got everyone in, and we're down to 5.5 million, but we still haven't added in the 25 rollover or the new league year money. So lines would still be at roughly $50 million. So they don't necessarily have to restructure Jared Goff. Simply restructuring Taylor Decker's deal and getting rid of David Montgomery and Graham Glasgow could be enough. It could be enough. And so then what does it do for 20? It won't be enough if you're trying to go out and sign a bunch of players, but could it be enough, and would it be enough in 2027? What happens then? What happens in 27? Because Jared Goff's number starts to go down when other players like Aiden Hutchinson start to go up. So we haven't walked this out for the next 2, 3, 4 seasons, which you really need to do to get that full picture. And that's what I'm going to do behind the scenes over the next week. And then I'll prepare a full video on this. It's going to be a long video, but it'll be at least 30 minutes. I'll walk through it all the best I can and make it make sense. Eric, we got a lot to talk about, man. This offseason is going to be full.
Yeah, we got a long way to go.
Long way. We're just scratching the surface. So get it out to more people, because you know as well as I do, this is the real place to get real information, and the conversations that nobody's having, the understanding of roster construction and the free agency period and draft construction. I mean, all of it. There's not a lot of people out there that can do all of this, and I try to do it all. I just don't want to do it half-ass. So if you want to be part of the show, if you want to contribute, if there's things that you're really good at, let me know. Email me, mailbag@rockdown.com. We'll prepare a segment with you. There's a lot of opportunity to help. If you want to write, mailbag@rockdown.com. Tell me you want to write. We'll get you writing. Whatever it is, there's always a place. If you want to call in, if you want to be a weekly call in, let me know. We'll figure out a segment for you. You can figure out your own. But with that, I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. It's Wednesday. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Go and probably go to Detroit Lions. Adios.
Pressured by Hutchinson.